Guys, welcome back to Techly Yours. So I'm back with Dev interview series. So today we are going to see Expo. So everyone says use Expo for React Native. You might have heard it, but nobody will tell you like what happens the moment you need to ship a real build, generate native folders, or use custom native library, and suddenly Expo feels like a cage. So today we are going to fix that. This is the full Expo deep dive: what it is, why it exists, when to use it, how to build for Android and iOS, how to get those native folders, and how it stacks up against bare React Native. So let's go. So basically, Expo is a framework and platform built on top of React Native. So you might have heard these days that we are going to create a mobile app, whether it will be on bare React Native or is it a Expo one. So it comes with basically in three main pieces. Expo Go, the app you install on your phone to preview projects instantly, and there you don't need any build setup. The Expo SDK, a set of like I can say pre-built native modules for camera and notifications, maps, file system, and more. And then comes EAS, that is Expo Application Services, their cloud build and submissive service. So before Expo, setting up a React Native project meant configuring Xcode and Android Studio, Gradle, Cocoapods, signing certificates, and more before you wrote a single line of JavaScript. So basically, when you have started working with React Native, so you know that if you want to create an iOS build, you must need Mac, because it will otherwise not support it. So but we have Expo there, so Expo removes all of that for you, and that's the whole pitch. So now comes, so when should you actually use it? Use Expo when you are prototyping or building an MVP, I can say, and you need to ship fast. And use it when your app's requirements are covered by the Expo SDK. And honestly, in my opinion, the SDK covers a lot. So use it when your team doesn't have to deep dive native iOS or Android experience. So you have to first go through the project requirements and like what kind of features you are going to deliver on that project. For that, then only you will get to know this. So use it when you want cloud builds without managing your own CI. And but here is like when should you think twice before you go there. So if you need a native module that isn't in the Expo SDK, suppose, so if you have a strict performance requirement around the app size, or if you need full control over the Android Gradle configuration or the iOS pod file, because you if you have coded in React Native, so you must have seen these kind of requirements or these kind of functionality that came into light, and we have to do these things. Or if you are integrating into an existing native app, so in those cases pre-build or bare React Native is your answer. So then you don't have to go for the Expo one. Then we have so now talk about builds. So in the old Expo model, you could only publish a JS bundle and run it inside Expo Go. So that's fine for like development, you can say, but you can submit Expo Go to the App Store, right? So for production, you need real binary files. So that's where the EAS build come in. So first install the EAS CLI with npm install -g dash g EAS dash CLI. Then run EAS login. So then EAS build configure. So this will basically create your EAS.json file. For an Android build, run EAS build dash dash platform Android. And if you want to run for iOS, then EAS build dash dash platform iOS. So EAS basically handles everything in the cloud: Gradle, signing, provisioning, profiles. So basically the output is an .aab file for Android or an IPA for iOS. So you can then submit these with EAS submit. So what's the difference between AAB and APK? So AAB is the modern format for the Play Store. So Google optimizes the final APK as per the device. So APK is direct installable file. Okay. which is good for testing as well. Then comes IPA. IPA is Apple's equivalent for iOS. So one gotcha is here, like for iOS you need an Apple developer account, okay, which has to be connected with the ES for signing. And for Android, ES can manage the key store for you, so that is not a point to worry. Then comes now, what if you need the actual native folders? That can be the case. It will not always be like you can do the like the bare coding and all, I can say. In the React Native side only you might need native folders. So maybe you need a native library that requires code changes in the Android or iOS layer, or your team wants to open the project in Xcode or Android Studio directly. The old way was Expo eject. Okay, so you will still see this in docs maybe and Stack Overflow answers also. So don't use it. The current or correct way is npx expo prebuild. So what is this command? This command generate the Android and iOS directories from your app.json and app.config.js. You must have seen these files in your project directory, and it basically reads your Expo plugins, applies them, and outputs native code. So, what is the key difference? That is that the pre-build is repeatable. You can delete the folders, change your config, and run pre-build again. So it regenerates basically. So eject was a one way door. Then pre-build is a door that you can walk back through, I can say. After pre-build, you can open Android in Android Studio and iOS in Xcode and work with them like any native project. Now, the last and most important for interviews, Expo managed versus bare React Native. So this is the ask. Even though if you are choosing for a new project, the client will also ask you this, like for which one you are going and why. So you must know this one. So manage workflow, you work only in JavaScript. Okay, Expo handles all native code. You can't directly modify Android or iOS folder. You use Expo SDK and config plugins for native features. Then bare workflow, you have the Android and iOS folders, and you can do anything a native dev can do, but you own all native configuration basically. The third option, which is actually the most important in production, is Expo with pre-build. You will get the developer experience of Expo plus full native access, and you define config in app.config.js. Then defining these and using plugin run prebuild to generate native code, and then commit or git ignore those folders depending on your team's workflow. So can you migrate? Yes. From managed to bare. So run npx expo prebuild, you can run this command, and from bare back to managed, remove native folders and ensure you only use SDK supported libraries. If an interviewer asks Expo or bare React Native, the correct answer isn't one or the other. It depends on the project requirement on your native requirements, and here is how I would evaluate that. So that's the answer which will get you the job. So you don't always have to answer one thing. You whenever these tricky kind of questions appears, which depends on the project requirement, as I mentioned earlier, so you have to answer it like that. You have to give both the pros and cons of both the things, and you will answer. If you will answer like this in the interview, then definitely your interviewer will be impressed. Then now the quick, I can say, cheat sheet. So use Expo manage for prototypes and SDK covered apps. Use ES build for production binaries without touching native code. Run npx expo prebuild when you need native folders. Okay, and use bare React Native when you need full native control from day one. And remember, these aren't opposites. Okay, they are a spectrum. So most real apps live in the middle. So subscribe, and next Sunday we are again going to deep dive And for more such videos, don't forget to subscribe the channel and go there and watch those. We have a number of playlists according to the series. And if you want, like, if you want, I can show you the bare, like, how to make a expo project from scratch, like what command will do what the things. If you want that, you can write type in the comment, and I can like do that, and I'll next, maybe in the next couple of weeks, I can post it as well. So if you like the video, don't forget to like, and if you have anything in mind, you want any kind of series or any topic to be covered, you can definitely go and comment that in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and happy learning.